Your attention, masters, mistresses. All systems functional for the Everything Geek podcast.
Hey, my name's Rich McDonald, and I played David Mason in Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and you're listening to Everything Geek podcast.
Hey everybody, you're listening to Everything Geek podcast. Thanks for listening.
Hey, it's Leif Gaffert. I played Uncle Ben's killer in The Amazing Spider-Man, and you're listening to the Everything Geek podcast.
Hello, I'm Simon Fisherbecker. You probably know me better as Dorian Moldovar from Doctor Who, or the Fat Friar from Harry Potter. And this is Everything Geek podcast.
Face it, Tiger. You just hit the jackpot with the Everything Geek podcast.
You're listening to the Everything Geek podcast, bringing you interviews from your favorite films and TV shows every week, and all of the latest news. Here's your host, Rory Williamson.
Hello everyone, you're listening to the Everything Geek podcast. I'm your host Rory, and joining me today is a very special guest. We have Duncan Pow, best known for playing Sergeant Ruescott Melshi in Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, Captain Greg Denovo in 24 Live Another Day, Linden Cullen in Holby City, Liam Mackay in Dream Team, Jason in the Journey and Petr in the Romance. How are you today, sir?
Very good. Hello. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So getting right into my questions for you, Duncan, can you tell me how you got into acting?
I got into acting, well, because I was doing a job I didn't like very much, and my sister had gone to drama school, and I came home one day from my job that I didn't enjoy very much, and she asked me how my day was, and I said not great. I said, how was yours? She said it was great. I got up this morning, I went to an art gallery, and then I went to a museum, and then I went to a coffee shop, and I just watched people. And I said, is that what actors do? She said, yeah, you know, when they're not working. So I quit my job the next day and decided I was going to be an actor.
Yeah, just because you wanted to watch people?
Just because it seemed like a better predicament, wandering around London and enjoying oneself, than it did to be talked to like I was some sort of an idiot at a company where I was working 9 to 5. As it turns out, it's actually quite hard work being an actor, but I wouldn't change it for anything. I love what I do.
It's a lot more rewarding.
Yeah.
Can you tell me how you were originally cast as Sergeant Melshi in Rogue One?
So I started working on the production a long time before they even started casting, and just assisting really with all sorts of different things, you know, with screen tests and auditions and all sorts of stuff. And as everything progressed, I eventually got offered the part as Sergeant Melshi. I would say that a lot of people might not do the things that I do. Sometimes I think you should say yes to everything in life. Well, just about everything. And I think sometimes you get afforded opportunities in a mystic sort of a way. And I think everything that happened with Rogue One, with Star Wars Story, with the casting from the start, I feel like it was a kind of a series of events that were all linked together, which culminated in me being in something that I've been watching since I was a kid. You know, Star Wars was the first film I went to see at the cinema. The Empire Strikes Back, in fact, and here I am years and years and years later, you know, in one of them, you know. So I think it's that thing. I'm a great believer that life is a dream, and if life is a dream, we should dream big dreams for ourselves, because anything's possible.
Absolutely. So you were a fan of Star Wars before you worked on Rogue One, and you mentioned Empire Strikes Back was the first one you saw. Would you say that made it your favorite of the films?
I think for me, Empire was my favorite. Empire Strikes Back, followed by Rogue One. Although I kind of ruined Rogue One for myself, because it's an amazing movie, and then the minute I saw myself on the screen, I really felt the that whirling suspension of disbelief sucked away from me. I ruined the movie for myself. Apart from that,
I mean, I've interviewed a lot of actors, and I feel like not all of them, but most of them would say it's hard for them to watch themselves in anything. So I'm guessing it's the same for you then.
It's I don't mind watching myself. I've never had a problem with it. And in fact, because I didn't have the privilege of going to drama school early on in my career, it was very important for me to watch myself, because I wanted to make sure that what I felt I was doing, I was actually doing. Because I think in drama school you get an opportunity to make mistakes and to learn your craft, and I very much learned on the job. And nobody's saying to you, that was bad, that was good. It's because you're in that high intensity environment of getting the job done. So they expect you to have a certain level of performance when you come in to do the work. And so for me, I think in the early stages of my career, I made a point of watching myself. I've never minded it. It's changed as I've gotten older, and I've spent more time in the business. And now, when I watch things that I'm in, I always drop out of the whatever it is that I'm watching, because I just see myself there. Whereas before I was just checking that I was doing it okay. Now I've got a little more faith in myself, so I assume that I'm doing it okay. I managed to keep working, so I must be doing something right. And yeah, it's an odd thing, because now I'm doing things that I love watching, and there's just that little bit where it's weird. I can't explain it now. It's just a bit like you're looking in a giant mirror. There's someone that looks a little bit like you, but it's you, and you remember being there and doing it, and it just feels like it just kind of sucks me out. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't been in your shoes, but I can understand what you're saying. What were you told about the character of Melshi when you were originally cast?
Well, just when you come in and you work on something like Rogue One, when you're working on a project that's big, you have to understand it's the size of the production's unfathomable. And for me, the cast and the crew and the production team and everybody that was involved in the making of that film, they all had their kind of particular jobs and roles and so on and so forth to fulfill. And for me, it's something where I came in and I just did what I was told. You get told to stand places, you get told to say things, and I just tried to do it, from the perspective of the person whose costume I was wearing. Obviously, I did a little reading up on the character, but for me, I think everything is. I like to do a little bit and then trust the people in charge, and the people in charge, they know what they're doing. So I just do what I'm told.
Absolutely. Melshi was a prominent supporting character in Rogue One, and as a result you filmed scenes in a few different locations. First of all, which was your favourite location to shoot in?
My favourite location to shoot in? Oh, that's difficult. It's hard to pick favourites. I'm a practicing Buddhist, and it's all beautiful to me.
That's a great answer. I would have gone with it's like picking a favourite child, but that works too. Okay, so which of the locations was the most challenging to shoot in then?
I think, everything about putting together a movie on that scale, everything about it is challenging, because there's so many things that are happening all at the same time. And it was my first experience of working in something so grand with so many people involved, and the stunt guys and the the guys that do the explosion, the special effects. It's like this massive, well-oiled machine, and so for me, all of it was difficult because you don't want to be the person that gets it wrong. So your focus is so tuned in to getting it right, and I was super conscious that if there was going to be a cut called, it wasn't going to be at my expense.
Well, because Melshi was a prominent character and you were in a number of scenes, were there any ever instances, not necessarily a few, but with other cast members, where there were bloopers or someone had to yell cut that you remember?
Not that I remember, and even if I did, I would probably say that I didn't remember.
A very diplomatic answer.
Yeah.
So what was the experience like overall working with the cast and crew of Rogue One?
For me, I've constantly, since that evening with my sister when I made the decision to be an actor, I've always wanted to challenge myself, at the highest levels. And for me, it doesn't get bigger than being part of the Star Wars franchise. And that's from the writers, the directors, the crew, the stunt teams. Everybody there is at the very, very top of their game. And so for me to be involved in that on any level was a privilege. It was a privilege to be a part of it. It's something I will carry with me until the day that I die. It was an honor across the board. It was an honor, and I have to say that I very much love being alive as a human being. But 2015 and 2016 were two of the greatest years of my life, for sure.
It's a really nice answer. What would you say are your favorite memories in general from your time working on Rogue One?
The people that I was working with. I have a sense in life that we're always where we're supposed to be, and if we can create value wherever we are, then we are doing the work of the universe. Because for me, the universe is a value creating entity, in the sense that we've got all this life here on Earth, and it's full and richly abundant with so many different people and different things to experience. So, to be working on that production, and to be able to interact with so many people from so many different backgrounds, and everybody was kind, and everybody was interested, and everybody wanted to speak to you, and I cannot still really, looking back, maybe I don't even know if it's still sunk in, the quality of human beings that I interacted with when I was doing that production was just a joy.
What would you say was your favorite scene to film on Rogue One?
I think my favorite scene to film was the scene where I get I don't want to spoil it if anyone hasn't seen it yet. I'm sure everybody's seen it now. Was the scene where I get shot. That was to be running down the beach and getting shot by from the guns with the colors that come out of the guns. It was like being a kid again. It was like being a kid again in a movie. And getting paid for the privilege, it was just I can't, I've still got this big smile on my face right now, even remembering it. I love filming all of it, but that was great. The action sequences.
Not as many people would think their favorite scene is their death scene, but okay.
Well, listen, I got some news for you, human beings. That moment of death for all of us will be the most beautiful experience of your life. And you'll wonder why you've worried about it for so long. Death is the greatest adventure any of us are ever going to take. So it's I think it's fitting that someone who believes that as a human being, their favourite scene in the Star Wars movie was their death scene, for sure.
All right. So which has been the most challenging role in your career so far of any of the projects you've worked on?
Wow, challenging. It's difficult. Challenging from an acting perspective. I think shooting The Romance was a challenge because I was playing Russian, having to speak Russian. So that was a challenge for me as an actor. I've also worked on productions where I've been challenged by the nature of the work itself. You find yourself in situations that you wouldn't normally find yourself in, and it's difficult because of the circumstances that you're filming. For me, I think it's really important to be able to go in and perform and do your work with a group of people that are professional and pulling in the same direction. So I've been on challenging jobs when maybe that hasn't quite been the case. But as an actor, I think having to learn Russian is up there with difficult things to do and challenging things to do.
And I'm assuming you got some lessons, like dialect lessons and speaking Russian beforehand. Like, how long did it take to learn it?
Well, I think the idea was to have dialect lessons and some work with professionals, but I actually ended up working from MP3s.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was working from MP3s, and actually one of the other cast members was Russian or Ukrainian, in fact, and he was Alec Utkov, in fact, and he and I sat and chatted through it, and he told me everything that was wrong with my Russian, and I tried to make it better.
Yeah, well, at least you had someone there that could, give you some pointers and help you improve.
Well, let's hope he wasn't lying, because I wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah, that's true. Like, that would just be not very nice if, he just told you wrong info to, make you look bad, but you wouldn't know either way, would you?
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah. And my final question for you, Duncan, do you have any upcoming acting roles or any other projects that you would like to talk about?
So the last job that I did, I've actually been traveling around the Amazon rainforest in South America for the last 3 or 4 months. So the last job I did before I left was a TV show called Flowers, which is on in the UK with Olivia Colman, and it's a really great, funny show. So that's season 2 of that's coming out soon. I had a lot of fun filming those scenes. So that's out in 2018. Right now, I'm currently in the process of writing my 3rd book. So I'm spending a lot of time writing a book called How to Heal, a book on faith, magic, and the pursuit of love. And it's a book on. So I lost my sister to suicide in 2013. My sister Lindsay, in fact, who was the actress that got me into this acting business to begin with. And the book's very much about our family's experience of moving through a suicide and sudden death. So it's meant to be something that hopefully people can read and see that when terrible things happen, it's possible to make a bad situation a little bit better. And I think if all human beings can spend their lives, and when bad things happen, we don't make it worse than it already is, then we'll be living on a utopian kind of a planet. So that's what the book is. I'm working on that, going up for auditions, praying something lands soon, because I've been away in the jungle for 3 months and I could do with the job. So we'll see what comes next.
Yeah, definitely. This interview got deep. I'm very sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Well, it's a funny thing. People people don't tend to talk about these things. But, it's almost a taboo subject. If you go to anywhere in Asia or the East, certainly many religions there, when people die, we they put them on funeral pyres, and everybody comes and says goodbye, and they light them on fire, and they send them down the Ganges, and they very much see death as a part of life. You can't have one without the other. And I think in this world, certainly in the West, we don't talk about it enough, and certainly words like suicide are I don't want to say taboo subject, but people find it uncomfortable to talk about. And it's not. Life happens. Life's tough, and sometimes people take decisions that I think they take for a certain reason. But I think we live in a world where if we talked about things more, if we talked about how we felt and communicated with each other, we could help other people's suffering. I think half the problem is that we don't talk. So whilst I'm very grateful for your kind condolences, at the same time, my sister's life was a gift. It was a gift to me, and every day I carry her around with me. She was a big, bright, shiny human being, and I don't want to say I was kind of an asshole, but I was kind of an asshole back in the day, and being able to carry her smile and her her light around with me, I see it as a gift, a terrible gift, but a gift nevertheless.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say. So this is kind of like I don't know what to say.
Whatever you do, don't feel uncomfortable. It's life. It happens.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I think like just having a platform like writing a book is just it's a good way to like kind of get those feelings out. Like if you have any feelings you might have, like just writing them down, can just help with that. Like that's the best I've got. I'm sorry.
It's normally me that's going to be speechless. I knocked you out, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. This was deeper than I thought it was going to get. So
well, I can only apologise. Do you know what?
No,
I get called many things. I get called deep. I get called intense. I get called an awful lot of stuff. But I know this is going out as a podcast, but hopefully you're seeing me smile here. I know you are. And I got this big grin on my face, and that's life's joy. It's a beautiful thing, and it's there to be shared. And I will never die with someone saying, well, he never said what he thought.
Yeah, that is very true. Like I've only been talking to you for like 20 minutes or so, and even I know that. Yeah, that's what it should say on your tombstone. He always said what he was thinking.
Yeah, and it cost him everything that was dear to him. Nobody stuck around. Yeah, it's a funny way to live your life, telling the truth all the time, But it's for me, it's the best way. There's only one way: telling the truth, speaking the truth from the heart, one-to-one dialogue, for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's all of my questions for you today, Duncan. It's been a pleasure talking to you on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure.
Hopefully we can talk again sometime.
Please, I would like that a lot.
So I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks again for joining us, and take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Make sure to check out our podcast links. Check out our website, www.everythinggeekpodcast.com/EGP. Check out our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/everythinggeekpodcast. Check out our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/user/everythinggeekcast. Check us out on Twitter, twitter.com/everythinggeekp. Check us out on Instagram, instagram.com/official-everythinggeekpodcast. Check out our Mixcloud profile, www.mixcloud.com/everythinggeekpodcast. Email us at the following email, everythinggeekpodcast@gmail.com. Check out our companion podcast, Everything Geek Comiccast, www.facebook.com/everythinggeekcomiccast. Make sure to check out the hosts' YouTube channels. Mine is www.youtube.com/user/Septus Destroyers. Check out Duncan Pow's website, www.duncanpow.com, and check out channel 1138 where we broadcast live from www.channel1138.com. Geeks out, everyone.
And sometimes when it's shot, you do kind of get moved around to suit the lights and to fill the gaps that there might be, and it's whether it be main cast getting shuffled around or people right.
When I went to Pinewood Studios, and when I got there and they showed me to my dressing room, and I looked around the corner at my wardrobe, and there hanging down I saw the orange of that sort of bodysuit, and I was like, oh my God.